Promised Neverland. A very popular manga series with an anime adaptation that seemed to be widely loved and appreciated, until it wasn't. Now, to figure out the source of this hate, we need to figure out where it began. Is the original writer of the story at fault, or something completely different? The premise of the show is set in an idyllic orphanage where the children live a happy and carefree life. But little do they know, The Promised Neverland is a dark and thrilling anime series that takes place in a seemingly idyllic orphanage called Grace Fieldhouse. The main characters, Emma, Norman, and Ray, are three of the youngest children living there, and they believe they've found a safe haven where they'll be taken care of for the rest of their lives. But as the series goes on, they discover that the truth of their situation is much darker than they ever could have imagined. It turns out the orphanage is actually a farm where children are raised to one day be food for demons. The series follows the three main characters as they try to figure out how to escape and survive in a world where they're considered nothing more than a food source. Along the way, they come across other children who are also trying to escape, and together they form a plan to break out of the orphanage. One of the major themes in the series is survival. The children are under constant battle to stay alive and escape the clutches of the demons. They're forced to make difficult decisions and sacrifices in order to stay alive, and the series explores the weight of those choices and the toll they take on the characters. Another theme is trust. The children have to trust each other in order to survive and escape. They have to rely on each other for support and guidance. But they also have to be careful with who they trust because not everyone is who they seem. Finally, sacrifice is also a central theme in the series. The children have to sacrifice their childhoods, their innocence, and even their lives in order to escape the orphanage and survive. The series explores the difficult choices that they have to make and the sacrifices they have to make in order to achieve their goal. But despite all this darkness, The Promised Neverland is still a thrilling and engaging series. The characters are well developed, the story is complex and interesting, and the animation is top-notch. But to explore where the hate started, let's rewind a bit and talk about where the controversy begins. The manga was written and illustrated by Kaiu Shirai and has been praised highly for its unique storytelling and character development. When the anime adaptation was announced, fans were excited to see their favorite characters come to life on screen. However, when the anime was finally released, fans were disappointed. They found that there were several major changes to the story and characters. These changes included the removal of certain plot points, the alteration of character personalities, and the inclusion of new scenes and characters that were not present in the manga. Some of the most notable changes include the anime adaptation compressed the manga story, it changed the ending of the manga, and the characters' personalities were changed. Needless to say, fans were not happy. They felt that these changes ruined not only the story, but the characters they had grown to love. They took to social media to express their disappointment, frustration, and anger. They felt that the anime had betrayed the manga and that their beloved characters were no longer recognizable. So why were these changes made? Well, it's important to note that anime adaptations of manga series are often made with the intention of making them more accessible to a wider audience. In the case of The Promised Neverland, the anime producers likely felt that certain plot points and characters from the manga were not necessary for the overall narrative and thus decided to remove them. Additionally, some changes were likely made to make the anime more visually appealing and to better fit the episodic format of the series. However, the problem with these changes is that they have affected the overall story and character development. The removal of certain plot points and characters have resulted in a weaker narrative, and the alteration of character personalities has made them less relatable and less compelling. Furthermore, the inclusion of new scenes and characters that were not present in the manga has made the anime feel like a completely different story rather than a faithful adaptation of the manga. It's important to understand that the changes made to the anime adaptation of The Promised Neverland have disappointed many fans of the manga series. The series had a very interesting and complex story and characters, which made it so popular among the fans. But when the anime came out, the changes made to it and the removal of the essence of the story made it less interesting to watch. This sparked a lot of controversy amongst the fans due to the major changes that were made to the story and characters. These changes resulted in a rushed and unsatisfying story and characters that were no longer recognizable. It's important to remember that when adapting a beloved work like a manga into an anime, the creators should be careful not to make changes that will fundamentally alter the story and characters in a way that will upset the fans. Now we're going to take a look at the main characters, and we might be able to identify where they went wrong there. The main protagonists are Emma, the leader and protagonist of the group, Norman, Emma's best friend and the brains behind their escape plan, and Ray, the oldest child and the one who initially discovers the truth. Emma is the heart of the group and is always looking out for her friends and determined to save everyone. Norman is the brains behind their escape plan and he's willing to do whatever it takes to save his friends. And Ray, initially the skeptic of their group, eventually joins their cause and becomes a key member of the team. Throughout the series, we see these characters grow and develop as they face increasingly difficult challenges. They make tough decisions and sacrifices, and we see them mature as they fight for their survival. One of the biggest criticisms is that the anime adaptation doesn't give the characters the same level of development that they have in the manga. Some fans argued that the anime skips over important character moments and doesn't give the audience the same level of emotional investment in the characters. Another important issue that some fans have with the anime is that it changes the portrayal of certain characters. For example, in the anime, Isabella is portrayed as more of a sympathetic and less villainous character than she is in the manga. This change has caused some fans to feel like the anime doesn't capture the same level of tension and conflict that the manga does. When it came to the ending, things took a turn for the worse. The final arc of the manga and the anime adaptation deviated significantly from the original story, leaving many fans feeling confused, disappointed, and frustrated. So what happened? Well, the ending of the series involves a major twist that completely changes the stakes and direction of the story. Without giving too much away, it's a development that many fans felt came out of left field and didn't align with the tone and the themes of the series up until that point. Many fans felt that the ending was rushed and that the series' final arc was poorly executed. The final episodes of the anime adaptation, in particular, were criticized for their animation and pacing, which some felt didn't do justice to the dramatic events of the story.
これが人間の世界につながる門。
And it's not just the fans that were disappointed by the ending. Critics also had mixed reactions to it. Some praised the series for taking a bold and unexpected direction, while others felt that it didn't live up to the promise of the series' earlier arc. So how did this ending affect the overall impact of the series? Well, it's a bit of a mixed bag. On one hand, the series still has a lot of great moments and strong emotional core. The characters are still likable, and the themes of hope, sacrifice, and the nature of humanity are still well explored. On the other hand, the ending does leave a bad taste in the mouth of many fans. Some even say that it's a huge letdown after being invested in the series for so long. It's not hard to feel that the series' final arc didn't live up to the high standards set by the earlier episode.
必ずみんなを連れに戻る。
In conclusion, The Promised Neverland has become one of the most controversial anime series out there, with a lot of people hating it for various reasons. Some of the main points we discussed in this video, including the series' dark and disturbing themes, its lack of character development, and its unsatisfying ending. But why has The Promised Neverland become so polarized? It's likely because it's a series that doesn't pull any punches and doesn't shy away from tackling some heavy and difficult topics. It's also a series that is not afraid to take risks and challenge its audience, which both can be a good thing and a bad thing. Despite all this, it's important that we remember that The Promised Neverland is still a well-crafted and thought-provoking series. It has left a long-lasting impact on the anime community, whether you love it or hate it. It's undeniable that the series has sparked important conversations and discussions about morality, humanity, and the nature of evil. So whether you're a fan of The Promised Neverland or not, it's definitely a series worth checking out and giving a fair chance. Comment down below what you think of The Promised Neverland if you've watched it and where you think it went wrong. Also, be sure to subscribe before I come over to your house and subscribe for you.